This is episode number 111 of the Cozy Corner of Cinema, being recorded on Tuesday, May 14th, 2024 at 3:42 p.m. I hope you all have been having a very, very productive week, a very productive year, month, day, everything of the sort. Being consistent with your goals and your dreams. And my gosh, this is such a sight to see outside. It's a beautiful day out. The greeneries are really kind of accentuating themselves. They really are just beautiful, man. The cats are loving it too. They see the birds flying around out there and they're watching it like you'd watch a film or something. They're just so engaged by their presence, and it's great to see them, have so much fun and look out the window at them. It's great. They love sleeping in the sun and feeling that nice, beautiful breeze coming in through the window. It's just completely a beautiful time of the year. It's one of my favorite times of the year. We get at the mentality of not being distracted by myriad social kind of nonsense, but more so following through with our passions and following through with what it is that we want to follow through with, whatever that might be. It's completely subjective, and it's completely your prerogative to want to figure out what it is you want to achieve in life, your artistic endeavors or your personal daily endeavors or anything of the sort. It's all about just being standing with your feet planted firmly on the ground, and saying that you're not going to live somebody else's life that they want you to live. You're going to live your own life. You're going to do what it is you want to do, and you're going to follow through to the end of your goals. Because talking's easy, doing's cheap. So if you're putting off that screenplay, you're putting off that film you want to make, you're putting off that album or the painting or that language you want to learn or anything of the sort. Don't be sitting around waiting for tomorrow, man, because that ain't guaranteed. It's just right now. So you got to live for right now. And I'm living for this delicious coffee right now. My gosh, man, it's great at the end of a workday to come home and just have a delicious cup of coffee. Gets you over that midday hump. Really gets the brain kind of flowing, the caffeine pushing through your veins, man. It's just totally, totally fantastic. And or you have tea or any kind of hot beverage, whether you want to be caffeinated or not caffeinated. It's totally just a cozy kind of sensation to just get a really, really great cup of coffee or a really great cup of tea, and you just like when you're in it, you just know it, man. I tell you. I remember when I used to work. I used to work at a retail place, and I was always closing. And there was a McDonald's like 2 minutes from the place. They're open 24/7. And let me tell you, uh, gosh, be getting out of work at 10 or 11. Actually, probably 11 or so. Now I'm thinking about it. I was always later than 10, and going over to McDonald's and getting something to eat and getting a delicious, delicious coffee. It was like 9 times out of 10. I don't know what the hell they were doing. I don't know if they put their best coffee makers on at night or what, but 9 out of 10 times it was perfect. And funnily enough, I haven't even had their coffee probably since then. I don't know why I haven't. I guess I'm never in a situation where I feel like I want to get coffee at that moment if I'm at McDonald's. Most like not getting fast food too often. I mean, that's another factor as well. I mean, it's sort of like factors into certain situations. As redundant as to say certain specifics that either way, we're not talking about fast food here. We're talking about these damn films. We're going to talk about these damn films right after I have some more of this coffee. And if you heard that clacking, it's sticking to the cup holder, or not the cup holder, the coaster. I'm sorry. Make sure you got plenty of coasters. You don't want to be leaving anything behind on the table. You put a paper down. You're like, oh my gosh, man, the ring around the cola or the coffee or whatever it is, it puts some wear into the paper. It's just you don't want that, man. You don't want that at all. I don't know why you would, but hey, that's your own life. That's your own prerogative. It's not my place to tell you what you're gonna do with your life, except for you to decide, brother. All right, I want to briefly talk about a contemporary film. It's a new film that I had seen theatrically the other day, from writer-director star Joanna Arno. This is not her first feature film. I want to get this correct because I was unfamiliar with her at all before this film. She has done some work before this. She has done. Uh, okay, I think. Okay, this may be her sophomore feature film. Actually, no, it looks like this is her feature film. Okay, because I'm looking here, she has a couple shorts, well, quote unquote shorts. I don't know how long you really want to consider a short. She did a film in 2013 called I Hate Myself, which runs in at about 56 minutes. And then she did two other films, directed two other films, Bad at Dancing and Laying Out. Bad at Dancing is 11 minutes, and Laying Out comes in at IMDb is running very slow today. 6 minutes. So I think it's safe to say her first directed feature film, and it's a doozy of a title, and I always forget the name of the title. It's here we go. It's the feeling that the time for doing something has passed. That's a mouthful right there, and it is kind of like the sort of comedies or the sort of dry comedy dramas that I've talked about on the show previously. Anyone who's listened to the show long enough kind of knows my affinity for a lot of mumblecore sort of early 2000s, early to mid 2000s sort of films. The works by Andrew Bujalski and Aaron Katz, and just a lot of really just terrific, wonderful films. Not so much the Duplass brothers, surprisingly enough. I don't know why their films don't totally click with me, but I do enjoy some of their work, and I think Mark Duplass is a very good actor. And I remember big fan of the show The League that he's on, which isn't a mumblecore show. Actually, it was a show on FX that was very funny, and that was actually one of the few television shows that I had seen in its entirety. It's just a really funny show. But I really, really like this film. I knew nothing about it. I knew that Sean Baker was an executive producer on it, although I don't know how much involvement he actually had in the film itself. I think that may have just been, whenever I see executive producer or bigger name, I always kind of chalk it up to it being a big name attached to a film. And I mean a bigger name, I should say. Sean Baker, a wonderful filmmaker behind such terrific films as Red Rocket and The Florida Project, and has a new film out next year, which will definitely be seen at the earliest possibility. He's definitely a filmmaker to watch. He's just a really wonderful, wonderful artist. But this film, it's kind of what I was talking about before, is that it's not even necessarily mumblecore, but it is sort of that very dry, very deadpan um, narrative. And I say that not in just the way the characters are acting. It's more so that, I think almost every shot in the film is stuck on a tripod. A lot of the action happens within the frame. There's not a whole lot of camera movement. It's more so just kind of wandering from scene to scene, and this is going to and sort of following through in our lead character, and played by Joanna, I apologize, one of the two, Arno. We follow her through different relationships with these guys. She is somebody who likes to be kind of controlled in a sexual kind of way. What is the term for that? That's not a submissive. That's what it was. I think somebody else said that, and I was like, that's what that means. But we follow her through different men in her life, and trying to sort of see her way through different relationships, different guys. I do apologize. I don't have all the actors up here, so I'm not even going to try to remember some actors' names, even though I definitely should. But actually, funnily enough, here I'm looking at my IMDb right here, and I was not even aware that Keith Poulsen is in the film, and that is very cool. He has done some films he's acted in some films that I like quite a bit. He was in Francis Ferguson from Bob Byington. That was a film from 2019. I think that actually might be the same filmmaker who did some of his films. Yes, because he was also in another film I do like, Somebody Up There Likes Me, from 2012, not to be confused with the Paul Newman film, which is also terrific in its own right, both very good films. But I mean, I feel like when it comes to this sort of evolution of mumblecore, these films feel like a different kind of film in their own right. Where I think of, like I said before, and I think of like the Andrew Bujalski, or is it Bujalski? I always say the name incorrectly. I do apologize. It's just funny. I'm such a fan of his work, and I never took the time to even look up how to say his name. And Aaron Katz, where a lot of their films, you have characters with a lot of overlapping dialogue and a lot of kind of awkward sort of interactions. And I say not necessarily awkward as in the situation. I mean more so kind of characters stuttering or not exactly knowing what to say. But here with these kind of films, when I look at this film. And like I was saying before, Somebody Up There Likes Me, and even a film I liked quite a bit that he's in as well, Golden Exits from 2018. This is 2017, but I watched it for the 2018 episode. I had Little Sister. Actually, Little Sister is a little bit more different than the other ones, but Little Sister I think is actually also a pretty underrated film as well. And Listen Up, Phillip by Alex Ross Perry, who as well has been doing some interesting work. Okay, yeah, I'm sorry. He also directed Golden Ages. Look at that. It all comes together. Beautiful. He's done some films as well with, who is that actor? Elizabeth Moss, I think is her name. Who was in The Square, and she was in a bunch of films. But anyways, I'm getting completely off topic here. I mean, I'm on topic, but I'm leaving the topic, so I'm gonna go back to the topic. And the topic at hand is this film I like quite a bit. Yeah, it's gonna be, you're gonna know whether or not that's gonna be your kind of film. I would recommend maybe get watching a little bit of the trailer to sort of see if it's gonna be your thing. Because with this kind of dry comedy, it's not even really drama. It's more just kind of straight up comedy, but very dry. Is that if you're looking for any kind of giant plot points or giant kind of narrative shifts, that's not what you're going to get here. We're just following kind of these quirky situations, and it's a very sexual film as well, which took me by surprise. I mean, I didn't know anything about the film, so it was just really wonderful seeing this kind of progression of this character being put in these questionable situations that you don't even know if she's really all that into or not. She really looks kind of bored, but at the same time, it seems like she wants to be like this submissive kind of person. It's an interesting film. I'm very interested in checking out her short film work. I think she is a very charismatic lead in the film. I mean, she so much just from reminds me of those comedies from that era, including just a lot of the performers that you see in a lot of the films. And she's somebody you could easily see being in one of those films. She has a really great deadpan delivery, and I've not watched any interviews with her. I know very little about her. But at least in the performance here, she does a very, very good job. This is a film that Magnolia distributed, which is very cool. I feel like I don't see Magnolia as a studio pop up that much anymore. But it's either going to be either going to be up your alley, or you're probably going to hate it. I could definitely see people when the film ends, kind of either being really on board or just kind of going, I don't know what I just watched, but I really like this film. This was really up my alley, and it kind of goes back to what I was chasing before. There's been a couple of these. I don't know. I really like these indie kind of drama comedies. Something about them I find just so cozy, and I find uh, so I love the naturalness of it all. Even if it does feel structured, I don't know. I really kind of like the loose sort of quality of this, just hanging out with these characters. I'm not dead set on plots and films. I'm not dead set on narratives. I'm very loose with what I like. And for something like this, I mean, I just really enjoyed this film. And I was talking about before is that there's been a couple times where I really find myself chasing the high of these kind of comedies. I remember the first time a couple of years ago when I had watched. I don't know how indie this was. I don't. I mean, but the film Ris Cutters, a love story from 2006, was one that just had a really surprisingly big impact on me. And I question how big the budget is, because I mean, what is and isn't independent. It's totally what some people might call independent, other people might not. I don't know. Some people call A24 independent. Some people call A24 major studio. I'm really not interested in the ins and outs of what is and isn't independent. All I know is that these films kind of have a similar kind of feeling. Not these films I like together. I know if I'm going to talk about a little bit, but Ris Cutters is one that we're following these characters. Zia, Zia, played by Patrick Fugit, and you have Eugene, played by Shea Wiggum, who's been on a bunch of stuff. And it has some bigger actors in it. It has like Tom Waits and Will Arnett, Leslie Bibb, Clayne Crawford, John Hawkes, Nick Offerman. A lot of these people, a lot of these actors in smaller roles. But then you also have Shannon. What the hell's her name? I just had it here. Every time I need to find a name. Looks like they don't want me to find it. And who they are, I could not tell you. Shannon Sawon. And it's just such a funny, low key, and really romantic film. I mean, it's sort of like when I got to the end of the film, the final like sequence. I'm like, gosh, that was so charming. That really just charmed the hell out of me. And for that, I was chasing so many of these kinds of films, these kind of more quieter, smaller, character-driven kind of comedy dramas. And I remember watching some stuff that just, I nothing I don't think was outright bad, but I did see some that were just not. They were just a little too, little maybe indie to a fault. Where I don't know. I just saw a couple that just. I don't want to dog anything because obviously, especially a small film like this, you don't want to. You don't want to be a jerk. You want to get constructive criticism. You don't want to just say, "Oh, this film sucks," because they don't suck. But also, I don't want to spend the time to be like to just dog on that film. If I'm giving you 30, if you're giving me 30 minutes of your time, I want to turn you on to some films. Someone's gonna take that clip out of context and go, "I'm gonna turn you on." So there you go. There's your soundbite. Um, but Ris Cutters, I really just was kind of taken aback by how enjoyable and sweet the movie was, and as well the film I was talking about, a film I was talking about last year, which I still have not met anyone who's seen film Something Anything from get the year right here. It's a recent film. Well, recent-ish, 2014, and that was one that, again, I saw it and I was just taken aback. I mean, almost like I think because when you have no expectations going to certain films. I mean, this film I knew nothing about. I knew no one involved. I mean, this is a pretty low key film, and just being completely won over by it. I talked about the film a while ago on the show, but in case I'll give some brief kind of a brief kind of mention once again. But it's written and directed by Paul Harrell, starring Ashley Shelton as this character Peggy, who lives a very unfulfilling life. She has a. I can't remember if she. This is me trying to remember it from a year ago when I saw it, so if I get some plot points wrong, forgive me. But I don't remember if she was married or if she was getting married. But she goes through a tragedy that ultimately changes her life, and in the process, ends up kind of going in a different path in her life. And it's a film that is very quiet and it's very subdued. And ultimately, you could say it's very simple with a lot of the plot messages or points it's going to. But my gosh, man, the film is so sweet and romantic, and the lead performance from Ashley Shelton is so like perfect for this kind of film. And it's the one where you have another character who comes in about halfway through, and I do apologize, I don't have the actor's name, but just their interactions are just so nice. And I remember at the end of the film, I mean, I remember like just the hairs on my arm standing where she says this whole kind of speech, and it's just like, and then the credits come up, and it's like, my gosh, this is. I don't want to hype up a film like this too much because one could easily watch a film like this and go, I don't get what the big deal is, it's fine and all that. But I think we all have those kinds of films where there's something about it, and it's above being just a great film. You can watch Apocalypse Now and go, that's a great film. I mean, this is a different kind of case where because you have no expectations, you really don't know what it is, and for it to just kind of like gobsmack you, it's like, wow, man, this is the thrill of the hunt. People, you watch so many films, you watch so many good films, so many not so good films, and the ones that really kind of stick with you, regardless if they're even like a favorite or not. Maybe there's a film that you just thought was so poor that you're like, oh my gosh, these flaws I just don't forget about. They were so poorly done. I'm gonna watch these films and keep an eye out to make sure they don't do these well. It doesn't really matter. It's just what really sticks with you. And this film definitely really did. If any of you have Mubi, it is on there, and it might be on Amazon Prime as well. Last time I checked, I thought it was, but um, don't quote me on that. But so there's a couple of recommendations for you. Different types of Something Anything is far more of a drama, but is far more of a romantic drama than the other two. I would say that the feeling that see, I already forgot the title. The feeling Good Lord. The feeling that something. Where the hell is it? The feeling that the time for doing something has passed. There we go. I'm trying to remember the titles. I'm trying to search for it. That's the most comedic, I would say. Ris Cutters has a good balance of comedy and drama while still having a lot of comedy in it. And then Something Anything is just more a great romantic drama. And again, I'm on the hunt for these kind of just totally nice real gems, man. I mean, these really are gems because a film like Something Anything no one is talking about, and I don't even know how I came across it. I've not met anyone, I've not talked to anyone who's seen this film or discussed this film, and I hope that with you listening, perhaps whether or not you decide to watch this film, at least maybe you watch the trailer or you look online about it and stuff, and maybe it stays in your subconscious, and you go, "Hey, heard about this film. Maybe you'll like it, maybe you won't." You pass it on to somebody else, and maybe they watch it, maybe they don't. I don't know. It's all about kind of passing along these pieces of art and really kind of getting different opinions and different kind of perspectives on a lot of films, and getting different uh, um, sort of what's what I'm looking for? Getting different ways of seeing, films that maybe you wouldn't normally come across on your own. That now it might be on your radar, it might not. But it's all about just bringing it up and not letting these films be lost in a myriad of in myriad amounts of films, or there's so many films out there. There's so many films being made, so many films on so many streaming services that you're going to ultimately make your own taste in what you like and don't like. And what I was saying before is that these quieter, character-driven, smaller budgeted sort of films are completely for me. I've seen so many ones that I find so charming and characters I love. I was talking about a while ago with the Andrew Bujalski stuff of his work like Funny Ha Ha and his second film, which I'm blanking on the name of right now. Ooh, Mutual Appreciation. There we go, 2005, which is also really good. And I gotta still see his new film, There, that came out in 2022. I did want to say, actually, it's funny that Jason Schwartzman, I said that kind of messed up. He ends up popping up in a lot of these films. And he directed one as well, I think I saw. I'm trying to remember the name of that one. What the hell's the name of that film? No, maybe he didn't. I don't know what I said. Oh, you know what I'm talking about, man? What the hell's his name from Dazed and Confused and Saving Private Ryan? Oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to look it up right here. It's gonna bother the hell out of me. Someone's probably screaming at me right now. Adam Goldberg. He directed a film that I thought was actually pretty good. That I'll get the name up right here. But it's again another one of these quiet kind of indie comedy dramas. The film was No Way Jose from 2015. I do quite like that film. And that might still be on Amazon Prime, I don't know. But yeah, he wrote and directed that along with Sarah Kate Levy. Yeah, man. You keep an eye on others as well. I've been looking at some of the Factory 25 titles that they were putting out, and a lot of those I kind of want to start buying some of those, man, because I don't typically buy many contemporary films. But some of the stuff they were putting out, it just looked like it'd be up my alley. I actually did just pick up um, their newest release, the film Vacation from 2010, which just sounded like it'd be totally for me. But it seems like a lot of titles they put out are films I'd really like to kind of be on to. Like, I mean, they put out Funny Ha Ha, what I was talking about a while ago, and I have that Blu-ray. But other titles like Ham on Rye, I'd wanted to see, and White Reindeer, and Actual People, and just a lot of cool stuff. I think I want to get on more of them buying their titles. They put out In the Soup as well, which is a very good Steve Buscemi film. And I don't think Trees Lounge has a blue, or maybe it does, but Trees Lounge as well would be up their alley. That's Steve Buscemi directed film. I really like that film as well, about him kind of bumming it around at these different. I can't remember if it was different pubs or it was this one pub. And I mean, it's a comedy drama, but Steve Buscemi is just so enjoyable to watch in the film. One of my favorite gags, which I never forgot in the film, was when he bets somebody else that he can. There's a whole bit about uh, he can do a shot without them touching the Glass or something like that. I don't want to mess it all up. Anyways, that's a really great film as well. So yeah, keep an eye out on a lot of those, man. I've been actually looking here at some of these titles. I'm actually be very interested in watching. I always say I'm going to write these down to watch them, but I never do. So I might be better off just start buying some of these because I've been buying quite a bit lately. I've been back on my kick of buying titles, and actually today I got the 4K of Once Upon a Time in the West coming in the mail. That should be here hopefully soon, and that'll be watched definitely again at some point. It's been a couple of years since I've seen Once Upon a Time in the West, so now is a perfect time to revisit that, and that's just totally great, man. This coffee's getting colder the more I talk, so I gotta finish this up here. And another contemporary film I wanted to mention, which has just gotten American distribution and is now in a limited theatrical run, but is a film that actually made my top 10 favorite films of 2021. Uh, Interestingly enough, I mean, it says from 2020, so I guess it actually may have originally come out in 2020, but then I saw it a year or two ago for the 2021 list. Okay, it played festivals in 2020 and got a release in Brazil in 2021 as well as in Ireland the same year in the UK and are just now getting it in 2024. And that is the film Nowhere Special by Uberto Pasolini, starring James Norton, who has such a familiar face. I was like, my gosh, where have I seen this man? And there's going to be a totally random movie to pick. But I remember, I was like, where the hell have I seen this guy? And I haven't even seen the film, but I remember he was in the trailer for the remake of Flatliners. And I remember going to the cinema. I saw that trailer so many damn times. It has been imprinted on my memory. I've never even seen the original Flatliners. I have it on Blu-ray. I've not seen the remake of Flatliners. I really don't probably ever will because I don't give a damn about Flatliners. I don't really care. But they showed that trailer so many times, it drove me crazy. And I said, my gosh, man, where have I seen James Norton? And then I looked, and the internet told me, Dan, you've seen him in the trailer for Flatliners 1,000 goddamn times. Like, oh my gosh, thank you, internet, you're right. But I love this film. I love this film so much, and not a peep has been talked about it. It's getting I saw it got announced for a Blu-ray from Cohen Media, which is fantastic. This film is absolutely beautiful. It's heartbreaking, but it is completely touching. You have James Norton in the film, who plays his character John. Takes place in Ireland. It's an Irish film, of course. He's a window cleaner, and he doesn't have much longer to live. I think it was cancer. It's terminal cancer. They never flat out say it, but everything's there. You know, he's getting sick. I think he's starting to lose his hair, I believe. And he has to find a new family for his adorable 3-year-old son and the trials and tribulations of his son, Michael, played by Daniel Lamont, who's a young child, and he does so good in the film. And it's so heartbreaking when you just see the desperation that John is going through because you feel the pressure. You feel the repetition of him going to these families and it having some hiccups or some quirks or just being, flat out just a bad, seemingly bad family. And there are just these great shots where John looks over and he just smiles and he sees Michael and just there's just James just says so much without saying anything at all. Just you see the worry, but you see the love that he has for his son, and you know that that feeling of just you can't mess this up. You have to lead him. You have to give him a good life, and it's just so touching of a film, man. Even I had rewatched this theatrically since it played here because I'd only seen it for the previous 2021 top 10 episode, and I think I don't know, I gotta look at that list again, but it may even go higher. And I think, but I really really love this film, and we'll definitely be picking up that Cohen Media Blue when it comes out. And I can tell you when it's going to come out right now because I have about a minute left. So I'm going to look this up here on Amazon.com, and you can pick yourself up a copy. I almost said pick yourself up a coffee. You can do that too on June 18th. But it is also currently available on Blu-ray in the UK. So if you don't want to wait that long, and you can probably also rent it online too. Doesn't matter. What does matter is that we are at the end of the episode. So thank you, thank you, thank you. If you listen to all of this, thank you for lending me your time. I hope it turned you on to some good films that may or may not be on your radar. And that's really all I got to say. This has been another episode of the Cozy Corner of Cinema.